All right, let's jump right in. Now, before we get to the main event today, you got to remember the vibe of the last 6 chapters. Isaiah has basically been calling out the people of Judah for faking it. They look all religious on the outside, but inside, they're a mess. And now, the bill is coming due. So get ready, because we're about to unpack one of the most intense, high-stakes moments in the whole book. This isn't just some dusty old history lesson. This is a story about fear versus trust. And it all boils down to one choice by one king that changed everything. No, seriously, think about it. Have you ever been so freaked out, so cornered, that you just grabbed for the quick fix, the easy way out? Even if you had that little voice in your head telling you it was a bad idea? That pit in your stomach? Well, that's exactly where the main character of our story is at. It's a feeling that is thousands of years old, and it is about to cause a world of trouble. So let's set the stage. Welcome to Act 1 of our story, Panic in Jerusalem. The whole kingdom is right on the edge of a total breakdown. Picture this. It's around 735 BC. King Ahaz is in charge, and he is in full-blown panic mode. See, on the surface, his kingdom of Judah seems like it's doing okay, but it's all a sham. And now a real threat is at the gates. The Bible puts it this way in Isaiah chapter 7. The king's heart and the hearts of his people shook as the trees of the forest shake before the wind. I mean, what a description. They are absolutely, positively terrified. Okay, so let's break down the players in this game. First up, you got Team Judah, led by King Ahaz. Their status? Panicked. Their goal? Just survive. Then you've got Team Invaders. This is a tag team of two rival kingdoms, Syria and northern Israel. They've ganged up, and their goal is to kick Ahab off the throne. And then there's the wild card, the superpower, the final boss of the ancient world, Assyria. These guys are the brutal, unstoppable empire that everyone is afraid of. Remember them, because they are a huge piece of this puzzle. So all this panic, this pressure, it all leads to this one critical moment, the main event, where everything hangs in the balance. Act 2, a king's fateful choice. So right in the middle of Ahaz's freak out, God sends the prophet Isaiah with a message, and the language is just awesome. God basically says, hey, calm down, be quiet, don't be afraid of these two kings. And then he calls them two stubs of smoking firebrands. Think about that. It's like a campfire that's already burned out. There's nothing left but a couple of smoldering sticks. God is saying they are all smoke and no fire. They are not the real threat. And then God just doubles down. He does something incredible. He basically hands Ahaz a divine blank check. He says, ask me for a sign. Anything you want. Prove that I'm with you. Ask for something as deep as the ocean or as high as the stars. This is a massive test. God is literally saying, go ahead, test me. Let me show you what I can do. Just ask. So how does Ahaz respond to this unbelievable offer? He says, I will not ask, nor will I test the Lord. And when you hear that, you might think, wow, what a humble, faithful guy, so respectful, right? But it's a total fake out. This isn't humility. It's a smokescreen for what he's already decided to do. And boom, here it is, the big reveal, the aha moment. See, the reason Ahaz refused a sign from God wasn't that he was being faithful. It's because he had already made another deal. He had secretly sent a ton of money and a message to that brutal empire, Assyria, begging them to come save him. He wasn't trusting God. He was trusting his own political scheme. He didn't want a sign from God because he'd already picked his savior, and it wasn't God. So what happens now? The king has officially said no thanks to God's offer of trust. But here's the thing about God's plan. It doesn't get canceled. Instead, God decides he's going to send signs anyway. And these aren't just any signs. These are going to be living, breathing billboards that declare what's coming next. The first sign is maybe one of the most famous prophecies ever. Isaiah says a young woman is going to have a son, and his name will be Emmanuel. And what does that mean? It means God with us. Now, just think about the irony here. At the exact moment the king is pushing God away, God's response is to promise his presence. It's this incredible message that even when the king fails, God won't. It's a seed of ultimate hope planted right in the middle of a disaster. Okay, the next sign is a mouthful. God tells Isaiah to have another son and name him Maher Shalal Hashbaz. Seriously, try saying that 3 times fast. It literally means speed the spoil, hasten the booty. Can you imagine that being your name? This kid was a walking, talking prophecy. His name was a living billboard announcing that those 2 enemy kings Ahaz was so scared of were about to get wrecked, and it was going to happen fast. But choosing your own plan has consequences. Let's compare the strategies here. Ahaz's plan is basically this: hire the biggest, baddest bully on the playgird, Assyria, to take care of the two smaller bullies. But God's warning is clear. It's like, hey, what do you think that big bully is going to do after he's done with them? He's coming for your lunch money next. By trusting Assyria, Ahaz has just invited a much bigger, much scarier problem right into his house. And the way God describes this is just brutal and brilliant. He says he's going to use this hired razor, the king of Assyria, to shave Judah. Now, a shave for us is no big deal. But back then, being shaved like this was the ultimate public humiliation. It meant you were conquered, disgraced, and stripped of all your dignity. And notice the power move here. Ahaz thinks he's the one doing the hiring, but God makes it clear, no, that razor is a tool in my hand. Okay, so things are looking pretty grim, right? We've got a faithless king, a hired razor coming to humiliate the nation. It's a lot of doom and gloom. But right here, the story takes this massive, dramatic turn. Just when things seem the absolute darkest, Isaiah flips on the lights with an incredible promise of hope. The whole tone just shifts completely with this beautiful line from chapter 9. And here's why this is so important. It's because human kings like Ahaz are going to fail, because they're going to choose their own dumb, fear-based plans over trusting God. God says, okay, I'll provide a different kind of ruler, a perfect one. And Isaiah chapter 9 lays out this incredible plan. Watch how it builds. It starts so small, so human. A child is born. Then a son is given. But then it just explodes into cosmic importance. The government will be on his shoulder. And his kingdom of peace, it will never, ever end. Do you see that progression? From a cradle to an everlasting cosmic throne? So, who is this king? This is where the story goes from a national crisis to a global, eternal solution. The final section of our story dives deep into his identity and the mind-blowing kind of kingdom he's going to bring. And these aren't just fancy titles. This is his resume, his character description. And just look at these names. He'll be called Wonderful Counselor, Perfect Wisdom, Mighty God. Whoa, hold on. That's not just a king. That's divine. Everlasting Father, a protector who never leaves. And Prince of Peace, the one who brings real, lasting healing. Each one of these names is a massive promise about who he is. And his kingdom is going to be totally different from anything this world has ever seen. Isaiah 11 paints this radical picture that's almost impossible to imagine. It's not just that people stop fighting each other. It's that nature itself is healed. The wolf and the lamb are hanging out. A toddler can play next to a cobra's den and be perfectly safe. This is about fixing everything that's broken in creation, all the way down. And his rule isn't just for one little nation. The prophecy says he will be a banner for the peoples. Think of a banner at a huge festival or a concert. It's the one thing everyone looks for, the rallying point where everyone gathers. That's who this king will be, but for the whole world. People from every single nation will look to him and seek him out. And this is where it all lands, bringing the entire story full circle. After you see the epic failure of a king like Ahaz, and then you see the incredible promise of the true king, what's the only possible response? Well, chapter 12 gives it to us. It's a song. And listen to the words. They're the exact opposite of how Ahaz felt. Instead of fear, there's trust. Behold, God is my salvation. I will trust and not be afraid. That's it. That's the right answer to the test that Ahaz failed so badly. And really, it leaves all of us with the exact same question today. Are we going to trust our own plans, our own hired razors? Or are we going to trust the God who promises to be Emmanuel, God with us?